everybody. Thanks for watching. Now, we can see the problems in the black community with the African American relationship with the black family. We know it really stems from poverty, and poverty is something that most people in the black community is dealing with. Either you have a job and you work, or you're on welfare, or you hustle. Some people live off a family member, live off a grandmother or a friend or what have you. This is basically poverty in the black community, and it's something that most people are dealing with. Now, you have those people who have a good job and making pretty good money. Their relationship is basically going to be based off of their mindset. What is their mindset? And we really get, really learn how to be in a relationship and how a relationship's supposed to be from our parents. If you grow up in a household that has two parents, a mom and a dad, and they got a pretty good relationship and everything is doing good, then you really get those morals, those family values. And I talked about this before. You really get those family values from your parents. They instill that in you and you carry it with you. So, if everything's right in the household, your parents work, or at least one of them works, and they're doing well, and you go to school and they put you through college, and you graduate and you become successful as well, and then they leave you a bunch of money or everything that they accumulated during their lifetime. They leave it to the children, and the children put that on top of the success that they already have. This is how generational wealth begins. It really starts with the parents instilling really good morals and values in the children, and the parents themselves being successful and being able to pass down success to children, and the children carry that, and so on and so forth. Now, with relationships, if you're in a household that has a really good relationship, as I said, children are most likely to follow that pattern because that's what they know. Mom, dad was married, grandparents was married, aunts, uncles, whatever. You see down the line, you have a family of people who are in committed relationships, and because of that commitment, they see that they was able to spawn wealth, from being in a committed relationship and having, two people contributing to the family system. So this is one of the things that's, of course, a problem in the black community. And we know what, so many black males being arrested and taken out of the community. It's not going to be easy for a lot of black people to see how, we can say how society tells us a family should be. But when you base it upon how you have to function in this society, having two parents and having two successful parents is basically what you want to see in every household. Now, for hundreds of years, white families have been able to build wealth, to build generational wealth and be successful and pass things down, to their descendants, to their family members, businesses and corporations and properties and what have you. And, they've been able to do this first, by free labor, slave labor. And second, by what I talked about before, and that's really integration. Now, I went into this deeply before in the previous video. I'm gonna go into it a little bit here, but I want you to really understand the purpose of integration and what it really was for. And it wasn't so we can, sing kumbaya with white people or what have you. And as I talked about in that video, Dr. King was basically tricked into integration. And when you really pay attention to what was going on in the American economy around that time, you can really understand why integration was needed. But then when you pay attention to the aftermath economically of what happened with integration, you can see that it only benefited white America and not us, which is obviously clear. So now with integration, first you got to remember that the economy wasn't doing so well right before, during, and a little bit after integration. Remember, I talked about how Ronald Reagan gave the speech when he was campaigning for a presidential candidate, and he basically gave that historic speech about the economy and spending and everything like that, and how it was a big problem. So now, when you look at how the economy was failing, if you take a white economy or just a white community, and if that community has $10 million circulating within that whole economy, right? 10 million. What happens is as long as everybody in that economy, as long as people are spending money and not saving money, then that economy will be fine. But you look at it, and let's just say Tim, he's a business owner. When he gets his cut of the money, he, pays his employees, pays his mortgage, pays his bills, take care of some personal stuff. And he's basically putting that money right back out into the economy so it can circulate, his employees as well. The money is going right back into the economy. So if, let's say, 10 businesses sprang up within that economy, now you have people who didn't have jobs before now having jobs and taking a cut of that 10 million, basically causing that 10 million to take longer to circulate, one, but also diminish a little bit. Everybody's not getting the same cut as before. Now you have this business owner who basically has to compete with these 10 new businesses that spring up. So his cut is not the same as it used to be. So now he has to basically cut hours, maybe lay off some people. And he's not really getting that same chunk of change that he's used to, from the 10 million. So what's going to happen is most of the people are going to realize that, money is not circulating as fast as it used to. And my cut is not the same as it was before. So I'm going to start saving money. So once you have half of the people decide, well, wait a minute, I got to save money to last me until the next time I get paid. Basically living paycheck to paycheck. Black people know all about that. And what's going to happen is that 10 million is going to diminish. So once it cycles once and then people hold it instead of putting it back out into the economy, that 10 million is going to turn into 5 million. Now, that's not enough. That 5 million is not enough to keep the businesses open, to keep the money circulating. So now businesses got to cut costs. They got to lay off people. They got to fire some people, all kinds of stuff. So this basically causes an economy to collapse or to be in really serious economic trouble. And you will have the officials will have to figure out a way to get people to spend money, which is why we have all kinds of sales or what have you, in our economy today. You have to have sales. You got to generate a lot of attention, a lot of buzz to get people to spend money. And if you can't get people to spend money, that economy will fail. Now, you got to understand something. The only way you can boost an economy is to bring in outside money. It's just that simple. You have to bring in outside money. You have to. So now you have integration. You have desegregation, and you have all these black people who are now able to come and spend money in these white communities, to be able to come in and work in these communities. So now you have a whole group of people coming in and spending money in your economy. Now that's fine. As long as none of these people stay, as long as they spend their money and leave, the economy will flourish. You have a big boost of money coming into your economy. They coming in, they spending money. It doesn't matter if they work there, if you got to work with them, because at the end of the day, they're leaving your community, they're leaving your economy and going back to the ghetto. They're going back to the hood, wherever they came from, leaving all that money there in your economy to circulate. Now it's enough money to circulate, enough money for people to save, enough money for people to invest or what have you, because you have all this new influx of outside money coming in. So we can see the boost to the economy when integration happened. You had, that whole influx, that whole flow of African-American money, our buying power coming into the white community, where most of the stores was, all the businesses was. Remember, those black people who was able to move into those communities had white landlords, so they had to pay them money. You had to pay the utility company and what have you. And, most of the people who held those jobs were basically white people anyway. So it was more jobs for them and what have you. All the new construction had to go up, and it was just a boost to the economy with integration that we clearly didn't really benefit from. We benefited from it a little, but not as much as we should have. They already had a lead on us in wealth. And with, integration, it was a big boost to the economy. So now you got to understand that, businesses is everything. Community survival is really dependent on its businesses. So you got to have businesses. You got to have outsiders coming in and spending money. Cities they spend billions of dollars a year on tourism. They spend billions of dollars a year on tourism because you got to have an influx of outsiders coming into your city and bringing in this outside money to boost your economy. So you see why, we have all-star games and they basically share it. It's passed around each year, different city. Same thing with the Super Bowl. And you have celebrities and entertainers that basically go on tour city to city, bringing people with them. And this basically brings a big influx of money to each city. So tourism, it's a huge thing. Every city knows about it. Every city has a huge tourist market, and they are all about bringing in people and bringing in their outside money into the city to basically boost the economy. And it's the same thing on a smaller level with a community. So if your community has businesses that none of the people in the community own, then that money is not really going to go to the community. It's going to go back to the owner and wherever he lives at in his community and his people or what have you. So this is something that we have to understand economically as Black people. And it really is a major thing that's playing. That's a huge reason why the African-American family is in the state that it is. But as I said, this is all by design. It was planned to go like that. We was not educated on such things, so we didn't really understand how this stuff really works. And, you would think, by now, really think about it. You would think by now, after all these years, we would have seen, a big boost of Black businesses and, the Black community having Black businesses or what have you. This shows you that, the oppression is strong and it's still going on and their plan is still working. And a lot of people don't have no clue what that is. So businesses and corporations already understand this. You can see advertising is everything. Getting people to buy your product is a big thing. This is a business-driven society. Corporations basically run everything because that model that I gave you first is really, really important to them. They understand they have to bring in outside money. If you got businesses in this city, so we think about this stuff on a smaller level. These people have major corporations and they have businesses all over the world, all over the country. So you understand if you have 20 or 30 businesses in this city, then you really need this city to be doing well. If Coca-Cola is the #1 drink in the world and it's in every major city, and usually they get big boosts in dollars and money from events, people buying, tons and tons of soda, for major parties or major events or what have you. And this is something that you got to contribute to see go on. So if Coca-Cola sponsors something, with sports or something with, any kind of entertainment, then obviously they're going to most likely buy those drinks and, they'll continue to, share that business. So Coca-Cola has to make sure it has an investment in cities. It has an investment in sports, entertainment, and what have you. It's the same thing with every major corporation. They understand this on a bigger scale that a lot of people don't realize. So they have to make sure that these cities where they have their products in is having a continual influx of people coming in. And it's almost like, just circulating money. One city gets a big boost, and then the events move to another city, it gets a big boost. But it don't really matter if you got businesses. It's like Monopoly. You land here, you got to pay. It don't matter if you got cities in each of these, or businesses, I should say, in each of these cities. As soon as the entertainment lands there, that's money for you. And it's basically how this works. This is why we can see that all these corporations have lobbyists and that they go basically hand in hand with the government. And it's a lot of people's problem. They keep separating these businesses from government, and you really need to put them in the same boat because, one, the government gonna get its money. No matter what, no matter where you live, you got to pay taxes. But the government can get more tax money if these businesses are doing well. So the more stuff you buy, the more taxes you pay. Regardless, the government gonna get its cut, but it gets a bigger cut if these businesses are doing well, and vice versa. If the government doesn't have problems in certain areas that's keeping, let's say, tourism out of a city, this is what these lobbyists take care of. They make sure that the way is open for people to come in and set up businesses and for people to come in and spend money. And it's basically what's going on. And everybody's making money and everybody's in a loop and getting paid, except for black people. We're the only one who haven't figured out this economics yet, because it's kind of complicated, but it's really simple when you grasp it and when you really understand it. It's really not as tough as people make it out to be. You need to get businesses. You need to have lobbyists lobbying for your best interest. And everybody has that except for us. We don't have that because we don't have the businesses. We don't have major corporations. People, so many black people keep taking this money under the table to basically work, for the opposition. So if you are a celebrity or a sports athlete and you get in these crazy amounts of money, I mean, you obligated under contract to, almost basically not do nothing with it, but, dunk a basketball, run a football, go buy some cars, buy a big house, but don't you go boost the black community. Don't you go boost that economy. Don't you mess with these black people in the hood, because we need them to go to work for us, to go back to our stores and spending money to keep us rich. And this is basically what's going on. Now, it was always about oppression. It's always about oppressing black people. But now these corporations and these government need us to basically spend money and to boost their economy and make them money and make them even more wealthier. But at the same time, keeping ourselves in a state of poverty, a state of ignorance, and basically a state of self-hate. And this is what we're seeing. So the sabotage has been on for a long time. It has been on for a while. And as I talked about before, generational wealth begins with the parents. And if you understand that, and if you don't want these people to basically do what you did. Now, imagine black people just got together and start putting together our own businesses, back in our own businesses, and had our own businesses in the black community. Downtown we have more businesses than they do. If at least in predominantly black cities, we had more businesses than anybody else. If that was just the case, I mean, one, you see how we can stick together when it's something pertaining to race, to black people. We can kind of sort of do that. So if our product is correct, if it's right, the black people will spend money with black people. It's just that simple. But they have to keep us in a state of ignorance and a state of wanting their product more than we want to create our own. And this is basically what's going on. So now we thinking the product is us, but really they're reaping all the benefits. So, while you spending money to go to the concert and buy CDs and, go to the movies and everything that you do to see your favorite actor or rapper or what have you, you got to realize all that money, that wealth, almost all of it, most of it is going to them. It's not really going back into your community. They leaving with that money. So we got to realize that this is what's happening, and that we don't have nothing in our community that's going to build wealth for us and contribute to the community flourishing, and not that money leaving the community and helping other people send their kids to college. So if you are an oppressor, if you are this economy, these people who don't want to see us flourish, and you understand that generational wealth begins with the family. It begins with a stable, successful family. Then you have to destroy that. So if you understand that, then you implant drugs in the black community. You watch people destroy themselves and become addicted to it. You watch men who are living in poverty trying to figure out a way to make money, sell it to their own people, and then watch it destroy the community. You watch a wife get addicted to it. You allow that to happen, and now she's addicted, and now she's not there to run the household, to keep the household going. The father's out there trying to make money. Then he gets arrested and basically put in a prison system that was designed, to make money off of him. So now they're making money off of the father, by basically taking prison contracts and having these prisoners manufacture products, at low cost to them. So this is basically the whole prison industrial complex that everybody's been talking about, that has been implemented to basically destroy the black family. And we know a black woman, she can't really raise a black man correctly on her own. So now you have an unstable household, and it just keeps repeating itself. You see the kid, you see his mom struggling. He can go out there and sell some rocks and make money real fast. He gonna follow in his dad's footsteps. And we've seen that a lot, where you have father and son in prison together. And this is the sabotage that basically happened in the black community. I understand I have to keep these people down in a low state. I have to make them hate themselves. I have to keep them ignorant. So I'm going to take away every single artist, all the music that's about hope and peace and success and stuff like that, and fill it up with a bunch of negative, women hating, derogatory messages that's subliminal, that's telling them bad is good, dope is good, murdering, killing people, all that is gangster. Gangster is good. Disrespecting your women, that's good. All kinds of stuff like that. That's subliminal messages attached to this music. I'm going to put that in the black community as well. And then, we thinking that it's us, that it's our music, and we feeding off of that. We destroying the community, destroying the household, and destroying the foundation that basically is going to afford us generational wealth.